Welcome to the RockStar In Life podcast, where you learn the secrets to unleashing your inner rock star so you can make the world your stage.
Hey, fellow Rockstars, Dr. Dan here, and I want to welcome you to our first podcast, RockStar In Life. I'm Dr. Dan, and this is
Siri Shakti. What's up, guys?
Awesome. So this is our first podcast, and together actually, I shouldn't say our first podcast ever, because we did have one many years ago, like 2006, 2007, I think it was.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. But we had some kids, so we kind of stopped at some point.
We basically started right when our third child was born, and between...
a little bit before that.
Oh, right. A little bit before that. But then he was born, and trying to do a podcast with a newborn in my arms was quite a task.
Well, yeah, because you were breastfeeding with Bodhi as we're trying to do the podcast, and we're hearing this... So
decided to take a little break. Okay, ended up being kind of a longer break, but we're back, and it's going to be awesome.
Awesome. So in RockStar In Life, we're going to be covering all kinds of really cool topics. Everything from...
Oh gosh, we're going to be talking about relationships, about health, about, your spiritual life, your spiritual practices. For instance, yoga. I'm a yoga teacher. We're going to be talking about education. We actually homeschool our kids, so we have lots of, knowledge in that area.
Knowledge and experience.
And experience, yes. We're also going to be talking about business. If you want to even work from home or create your own lifestyle in that way.
Or start a business, or excel more in the business that you're in right now.
That's right. And another thing, too, that's really important to us is not only what it is that you want to create in your life, but it's also that mindset. And we like to call it like that rockstar mindset. And so that's going to be a big topic for us as we move on is, what sets you aside from other people, because we all come into this life with different gifts. And so we want to help to not only draw that out of you, but for you to even discover on an even deeper level what it is that you have to offer the world.
Exactly. And I mean, we're going to be teaching a lot of stuff that we're qualified, that we've mastered ourselves in our lives. And then there'll be things that either we're in the process of mastering ourselves. So we're learning and we're going through, and we'll be sure to share those things as well and let you know, full disclosure, we're still learning ourselves. So if this doesn't work, sorry. So that way, ahead of time as well. And then there'll be things that maybe we either don't know that much about, or we really want to learn more about. So we'll invite special guests that are, masters, that have already mastered it, or they're an expert in that field, and bring them along for not only for our own selfish reasons of learning from the best, but, gives us an excuse to say, hey, come on our podcast. That's another reason why we're starting, is because it's a lot easier to get somebody, a big name person, like let's say like an Elon Musk or a Tony Robbins or somebody like that, to get on the podcast by saying, hey, we want to interview you, opposed to, hey, we want you to teach us some free stuff, and some of those people you can't even pay, some of those guys, they don't even have mentorship programs or anything like that. So one of the best ways of, learning from them is inviting them on as a guest. Yeah. And that's one of the selfish reasons for us and for yourselves as well, to be able to learn from that. And some of the things that we've learned and we've mastered ourselves. I mean, heck, I didn't even write this down. So I'm trying to go for my mental, hard drive here, or I should say, I used to say mental Rolodex, but that's very dated now. So you can't even say mental Rolodex.
The new generation's like, what's a Rolodex?
Well, I caught myself because I said hard drive, and I'm like, we're moving into solid state drives now, SSD drives. So, that's kind of dated. So who knows what the next thing is going to be, but the ether or whatever. But, these are things that, that we've, accomplished in our lives. And, some of the stuff that we've done is I've built let me back up a little bit for myself. Moved here when I was 2 years old from Denmark with my family for the American dream. And I remember in school, I had a really, really difficult time. And, as you get to know us a little bit more during, the podcast, I'm not going to spend the next hour and a half, 2 hours talking about this one thing here. But as you get to know us in our story, we'll talk a little bit more about those, those challenges that we had and, how we overcame them, in case that's something that you've had to go through your life, or one of your own kids is going through in their life. And, one of the things for me is I didn't do very well in school. I would get in trouble constantly. I remember, when I was taking tests, I would just like scribble all the little things because my brain just couldn't process all the questions. I'd read one question and I'd already forget what I read. I would be given book assignments and I'd read that and I would forget the last sentence that I read or the last paragraph I read. And I'm like, where am I? What's going on? I couldn't process it that way. And no one really could help me. They just branded me as a problem child. And I remember in school, the teacher would actually, I think it was either third or fourth grade. It was a science teacher, and maybe it was fifth grade. But she would say, "We're going to grade today. We're going to do a pop quiz, and today we're going to grade from 100% down to Dan's score." So how awesome is that, right? So I got in front of the whole class, it's like, thanks. I appreciate that. So I had, quite a few challenges in school and branded as a problem child. And I went from that. And again, also fearful, like feared it to death, right? To speak in front of groups, right? And when I tell people that, especially like when I'm speaking at an event or something, people are like, seriously?
Oh yeah, you used to be
well,
like.
She remembers.
I mean, he would avoid it at all costs. He would say, "You get up there and talk."
Yeah.
If we were at an event or something, you get up there and talk. And then eventually, he ended up stepping into those shoes and
forcing myself because I had stuff I wanted to teach and things that I wanted to share, and nobody else was doing it. So I was told by my mentors, like, "Look, you need to do it because nobody else is teaching this stuff." And I'm just giving you a little bit of background so you can kind of understand where I came from. So you're not looking like, oh, it's easy for you, right? Because I went through my challenges and going through all those things and being fearful in school. Like I'll just give you another example of the school is that when I was told, hey, we're doing a book report or you got to share with the class or something, I would just say, I'm not, I can't do it, or I'm not going to do it. And they'd say, well, you're going to get an F. And I'd say, give me the F. I would take the F. I was more afraid of that. And I went from that to writing 2 best-selling books. Mm-hmm. I mean, writing 2 books, and I always got like D- or whatever in English. I have no idea why they didn't. Well, I do know why they didn't give me an F because they needed to pass me still. So, but I deserved an F. I deserved a failing grade. I should have been, if they would have stuck by by the rules, then I probably would have never graduated first grade. I would be in first grade still today if they went by those actual rules. I don't know about that. But, going from that to that and then also starting my own business. And, today I have a multi-million-dollar digital media publishing company. And I co-founded that with my co-founder and one of my, best friends is Ben Littlefield. And we turned that into a multi-million-dollar business. And I knew nothing about that business. He knew nothing about that business. Right. And we built it from scratch. And we learned a lot through trial and error and stumbling on ourselves and continue to learn new things. And we do everything from, software to info training and what's the even word of that? I guess online education now is the word, but back then there was none. There was no real word. It was just like we were just creating products online that people were purchasing so they could learn things and they can shortcut to success. It was like a roadmap for them for success. And people paid us to do it. And it was pretty damn awesome. Right.
Yeah. And that's another thing where I was talking about mindset is that for him and Ben, the desire was so big to want to have their own business, to be able to, call their own shots. And he always would say he's psychologically unemployable. He had worked so much for other people. He wanted to take back that control. And so for him and Ben, it was like, there was no if, and, or buts. It was like, we're going to figure this out. And, even with the challenges that you had going through school, that just goes to show you how beautiful it is that if you have a desire to do something, you're going to learn it, And, I said that we actually homeschool. That's one of the things that inspired me about homeschooling is that, in my childhood growing up, I actually had what I say like a very magical childhood. And it wasn't until junior high that things kind of got more challenging. My parents went through a really, horrible divorce. And it was almost like a slap in the face, like a reality check. All of a sudden, this magical kind of childhood that I was having, it was like all of a sudden it was slipping out of my fingers. And so school became extremely challenging. Fast forward to high school, I ended up kind of getting in with the wrong crowd. And I don't know if the word wrong is correct, but there were other teens that were struggling just as much as I was. And, went through partying and things like that. And school, at that time, school was such a challenge. I always felt like I was never good enough. Like I was kind of stupid. I was always just an average student. As I got further along, I got more Fs and things like that. So I barely graduated, just like Dan.
Well, prior to that, though, you did. I mean, before your parents were going through divorce and everything, and before you found out about, there was problems. I mean, you were like, were you homecoming?
Oh,
princess or something?
Yeah.
And
I was actually. Oh, that's something that's really interesting too, is because I never was a popular person. I was just very authentic. I was always myself. I was always kind to everyone. That was just how I lived my life. That's how I still live my life. And so all of a sudden I was nominated for Homecoming Princess. And I thought, what? Homecoming Princess? Like it was me and 3 other of the most popular girls, the cheerleaders in the school. And I ended up winning. And
all the power went to your head and you said, off with their heads. And
absolutely.
Like,
off with their heads.
It's like Game of Thrones. You were like...
No, but...
Well, you did good in class and everything too at that point, didn't you?
Before like the divorce and everything, I actually did very well. I was in student council. I was vice president. I was activities chairman. I was always doing activities. I was a dancer. I was in plays. So I was able to see the different dynamics. On one side was this like great power that I felt like I had and creativity. And then I went through kind of a dark part of, a very challenging time and, ended up coming out of that. And then shortly after I had said, okay, I want to, get away from, that crowd and stuff. And I ended up shortly after that meeting my husband. Well, he wasn't my husband at the time, but
yeah. And there was it was an arranged marriage. And at that time, I mean, well, I guess what I was trying to say is that a lot of the things, so everything that we kind of just like went over it real quick. But as we move forward and we go through these podcast sessions and we talk about different topics and different, things that you can use in your real life today, tools and strategies and things that we've done, a roadmap. We're going to give you a roadmap to get past there or to get there. As we do that, we'll give you more and more of our story, but it's really just so you understand that we weren't just like, an overnight success or, overnight we just, it's easy for you. No, it wasn't, there was a lot of challenges and we still haven't even like scratched the surface. It's like, man.
But isn't that life, and we want to be really honest with you guys as we go through these podcasts because it's so easy to see some of our favorite teachers. Like, okay, let's say Tony Robbins, right? We've learned so much from him. And it's so easy to see Tony for who he is now and think, oh, Tony was always like that. This is just how he always was. He's always been successful and wealthy and empowered. And no. The man has been through so many challenges and that's what's made him so awesome and such a great teacher now. And so, we want to share with you, not all of it right now, but like Dan was saying is, as we move through these podcasts, we'll definitely share more of our own personal stories with you guys. To help inspire as well. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. We have so much to share and I didn't even get into the part to where, I was fortunate enough to travel, around the world with some of my, mentors that, I call friends today. And, went to Fiji a couple times, went to Monaco, went to quite a few different, places and learned from, like Tony Robbins, and met one of our, good dear friends, Guru Singh, who we were constantly learning from today, who's also, I met him through Tony Robbins. Tony actually introduced us at one of the events that Tony put together for what was called Platinum Partners, which is something that I had joined through Tony's group. And, again, these are some of the things that we are going to share with you and teach you, and hopefully I know it will help you as long as you do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So anything else you want to, I know we covered a lot, and we're going to be going over a lot. The topics we're going to cover has pretty much everything to do with life. So, it's a wide variety, everything from yoga to health to wealth to work-life balance to homeschooling to conscious parenting, relationship advice, marriage, dating,
nutrition. Did we say nutrition?
I don't. Maybe we said health.
Health, nutrition.
Yeah, we said health, homeschooling.
We want to really get into life. Bottom line is boy, the world is moving on so quickly. Everything's going so fast, and we all have to support each other. We all have to be on board with uplifting and helping one another. And so this is us wanting to contribute to that. And not only are you going to be learning from us, but we're going to be learning from all of you. And we're going to learn from all the cool people that we're going to be having on this show. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. All right. Before we let you go, I wanted to cover one last thing. So I get this question a lot where people ask, why am I using the word Rockstar? Why is it the name of the podcast? Why is it the name of my companies? Why have I been using this for the last, several years? And the story, I can go really deep, but I'll try and keep it really short. Okay. So years ago, I was traveling a lot. I was going to events. I was doing stuff, and people would constantly come up to me and they'd ask me. They'd be like, "Hey, what do you do for a living? Are you a rock star? And are you a celebrity? Are you a musician?" And it wasn't just the way I dressed and the bling I was wearing. I'm sure that didn't hurt, but it was kind of later people told me it was the way I was carrying myself. They were like, you just have this this attitude, in a good way, like a good attitude. And just makes me think that you're some kind of musician or rock star, that you're on there on stage and rocking out and stuff. And it's really cool, And I tell them, I was like, no, I'm not a musician. I don't do that kind of stuff. And it's even funny. Like I've been in like grocery stores and people were like taking pictures of me. And I'm like, why are people taking pictures of me? It like made no sense. I didn't really understand. And as I was going to these events, people would come up to me and they'd start calling me. They'd be like, "Hey, you're the rock star, right?" And I'm like, I guess so. Yeah, I'm the rock star. And they're like, "That's awesome. You look like a rock star, and you carry yourself like a rock star." And I was like, and I heard this several times, and it kind of turned into this, okay, well, if I'm a rock star, you're a rock star too. And they're like, "I am?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you're a rock star in life, and every day you're making the world your stage, aren't you?" And they're like, "Yeah, I guess I am." And I'm like, "Yeah, so you're a rock star too." And they're like, "This is amazing, right? Cool." So that's where Rockstar was really born, is people just kept calling me Rockstar. So I was like, hey, if the universe is trying to tell me something, you got to listen, right? Because if you don't listen to the universe, it can kick you in the nuts if you've got nuts, and you don't want the universe to do that, because bad things happen when you don't listen to the universe, right? I'm sure you guys all have examples of when you didn't listen to the universe and something bad happened, right? So now you listen, right? Hopefully you do. Well, if you don't, then this is your lesson for you to do that. So that's where Rockstar started. And after that point, I started teaching that. I was like, you know what, you guys are all rock stars in your life. And they're like, really, think about it. You're before you were even born, right? Before you were even born, and you're in your mother's womb, and, people are, they're getting excited. They even throw a party for you in anticipation that you're coming. they have a baby shower right before you're even there, and they give them gifts and everything. You go and the paparazzi's coming and taking photos of you because, you're inside the womb, and they go in there and take video and 3D video and pictures now. And they're doing all this. So you got the paparazzi, you can't escape them, right? Then when you're about to be born, your mom goes into labor and they're rushing to the hospital. Well, people are calling and saying, "Oh, are they coming? Are they coming?" And they're like rushing to the hospital so they can, buy tickets to a sold out show, and so they can just get a glimpse of you perform as you're being born. You're this miracle of life. Right. And again, let me even go back even deeper in that, is that, you think about it, you are a miracle of life, because it takes, I've heard as much as 200 million to 1 point something billion sperm, that rush through to get to the egg, and only one of them, and that's you, fertilize that egg. And so out of the, 200 million to a billion or over, you are, 1 in a billion, right? So you are a miracle of life. And so people, come to see you being born. And then after you're born, then they want to come to your house and take photos and hear you say your first words. They're video recording all this. So you got the paparazzi around you again. They're watching you take your first steps and recording it. And after you're walking, then, and everything else you're doing and you're learning, everything is so cute. Everything you're on the center of the stage, right? You're performing for the world to see, and you're just happy as can be. And then what happens? Something happens. Then you go to school and your teacher says, sit down, stop talking to everybody else, stop playing around, get serious, listen to what I'm saying, right? They're telling you to sit down and you're not the rock star anymore. I'm the rock star, right? I'm up here on stage telling you what to do, right? Not very rockstar-esque, right? To do that. But that's what happens. And, in years and years and years of this, they're telling you, hey, sit down in those nosebleed seats in the very, very back, where you can barely see anything, and you just got to be quiet and not say anything and not do anything. So that Rockstar Spirit that you had, that you just felt so amazing, kind of gets just pushed down, and you kind of forget about it. It doesn't disappear. It never disappears. It just gets kind of locked down into this deep, hole, right? This locker, right? That just gets in this vault, in your vault. And, it's still there, and you just need to remember that it's there. The spirit, never gets lost. It might feel like that because, after school, you go get a job and you're working for somebody that's telling you to do your work, and listen to me and don't do anything I don't tell you not to do. And, here's your cheese, here's a little bit of money for doing what you do. Right. And again, it's like you can't do what you want to do. You can't perform. You can't be what you're meant to be. Maybe some of you listening to this are, and you are doing what you want to do, and that's great, right? So we're talking about the people that aren't. So you've obviously found your rockstar spirit. You've unleashed it. You've brought it back up, or maybe it never even disappeared for you. But, many of you, like myself, included, that rockstar spirit got shoved down so deep I didn't even know existed. And it wasn't until, that I thought to myself, I'm like, look, man, there's got to be something more in life than what I've been going through and what I've been doing. And there's got to be more purpose in life. And that's when I, brought that rockstar spirit back up. I unleashed it. And that's what I'm doing with you today. And that's what the RockStar In Life podcast is all about, is helping you to realize it and unleash it and bring it back so that you can live your authentic self, that you can fulfill your mission and your purpose in life and whatever it is that you want to do, and nothing's going to hold you back. And if you've got kids right now, or if you want kids in the future, that you're going to teach them as well, that, that they should never lose their rockstar spirit. You're not going to let them do that, just like we do with our 3 kids today. So that's where Rockstar came from. And that's why I've called my companies over the years RockStar, and everything had RockStar in it, the books, this podcast, everything that I've done had Rockstar in it. So Rockstar is just not a cool thing to say, it's just not like oh, hey, I'm a rock star, or anything like that. It's not like the word epic or anything like, those kind of words. It actually has meaning. So remember, you were born a rock star. It's your birthright. So unleash your inner rock star today. All right. Well, I guess we'll see you in the next episode.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Be a rock star in your life. Make the world your stage.
Bye.
You got to do it with me. Come on. There you go.
Thanks for listening to Rockstar In Life, your source for unleashing your inner rock star. For more tips, training, and free stuff, be sure to go to rockstarinlife.com and join the Rockstar In Life revolution today. Thanks again, and don't forget to make the world your stage.